Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining one of our webinars. We're very glad to see you here today. We're with Sarah, our ASO expert, and she's
Uh,
here to discuss a bit more about how to localize your app with 5 simple steps.
yes, I'm happy to be joining you today. And like Susan said, I'm Sarah. I'm an ASO expert at AppTweak, and I'm going to show you some easy step you can take using AppTweak to localize your app in any country you would like to.
Perfect. So let's get started. Perfect. So, Sarah, before we jump into these easy steps on how to localize, maybe you can tell us a quick word on what is localization?
Sure. So localization is basically the process of making your app available in several languages. But it's not just a simple translation. It goes way beyond that. It implies learning about the market's culture, social norms, your target users, what they like, what they don't like, how they behave, and take all of those things into consideration and adapting it to your app. So a lot of people think that localizing your app, it's only localizing your metadata, right? And translation. But actually that's just a small part of it. So there is like basically 3 major parts to localizing your app. So optimizing your metadata, which is what people think they should do and the only thing they should do. But then you have also to tweak and adapt your creatives as well. So your icon, your screenshots, your videos. And the last one would be to also translate the in-game text, because having a localized metadata, but then downloading the app and realizing that it's in another language, it just doesn't make sense, and there's no consistency there. So it's very important to take these 3 steps into consideration.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right that localization is more than simply translating. And then maybe you can also explain us why it's so crucial to have this localization across all of your elements.
So, like major, like why is it important? It's just because, like I said, consistency. Like you have to be consistent. The users need, so when an app is, the metadata is localized, but also the in-game and the text and the screenshot, the text on the screenshots, it makes the user feel like the app was created for them, and it makes them more, it makes it more fun and more engaging for them in that sense.
Sure. So this can definitely improve your conversion rate, right? Because by localizing, you're speaking directly to the customer.
Yes, it actually has been proven that localizing your app, because it makes the users more engaged, so it did increase the retention rates. Also, it increased the numbers of positive reviews you're getting and downloads. So it has a lot of positive impacts.
Yeah. So then we would definitely suggest that if you have your app available across different countries and different cultures, to really take that step further and localize your app, right?
So basically, yes, because I mean, major countries in the mobile app market are not proficient in English, right? So localizing your app become vital to break into those markets. Actually, 8 out of the top 10 top markets by iOS downloads and 9 out of 10 of the top markets by Google Play downloads are non-native English markets.
Wow.
And even found out that even though some big countries such as France, Germany, Italy are highly proficient in English, 60% of users, so the majority of users, still prefer the content in their native language. So I feel like localizing your app really, yes, is more vital in some markets than others, but it's still always a good step to take into consideration when entering a new market.
Yeah, I think those numbers are definitely showing the importance. So thanks for that. Okay, Sarah. So definitely localizing and optimizing your app is essential to meet local requirements. Now maybe you can give us just a brief introduction about the 5 steps to localize your app.
Sure. So the 5 steps are, first of all, like conduct, like we said, entering a new market. So you have to know the market. So the first step would be to conduct in-depth research analysis. The second one, once you've done that, the second one, it's like you do in, I mean, your like mother tongue language for your app right now is create a semantic dictionary. Then it's really the basic step of keyword optimization with it, which is to look at performance indicators and make your selection of final keywords that you would like to use in your metadata. Hire a native speaker to then help you with, the sentences and how you're going to formulate your subtitles, your short description, your metadata text. And finally, you implement that new metadata. You implement it, and then we're going to show you how to monitor and update it frequently and stay updated with the new trends in that new market.
Nice, great. So what do you think if we get started?
Yeah, let's do that.
Sarah, so you told us that the first step is conducting an in-depth research and analysis. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
Yes. So like I said before, this is something that you would do, any business would do when entering a new market, right? So you analyze the market, you analyze your target users. So same goes for localizing your app for a new country. You do an in-depth analysis of the trends, the cultural differences in the country you are targeting before even starting to optimizing your app. So you look, you have to make sure that everything you're going to put out there is not going to offend your target market. It's going to be, in the norms, in the cultural, like aligned with the cultural norms. So yes, so that's something that you definitely must do at first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why is it really important?
It's really important because it ensures that, the creative and the text you convey, like intended, that's exactly what you want to say. Like localizing your app will make it, like I said before, resonate with the target users and generate more downloads and positive reviews. But on the other end, if your app is poorly localized, you're going to have the opposite effects. And that's what makes the research part extremely important, because it's a double sword edge kind of thing. So it needs to be done properly.
Yeah. So it really has to be done carefully, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And can you give us some examples about this?
So for example, one big thing you should really look into is the language. So in many languages, the same word can be expressed in different ways, like formal, informal. Like, for example, in Japanese or even Arabic, right? We have 5 keywords for the same word that mean the same thing. We have up to 5 different versions of that word. So it's very important to do a research and know which version of that word you should use in your metadata or not, and which tone to use is extremely important too. So yes, so the second step after the research, so once you have done the research, now it's time to create your semantic dictionary in the targeted language. So here we're going to use, for example, Fruit Ninja, and we're going to localize this app in French. So in French. So here we're on AppTweak. We're in the keyword section, which is a new keyword that just came out. So it's a new look. So it's nice also we're going to take advantage of that to walk you through our new keyword analysis design. So to start here, what you could do first is build a semantic dictionary in your own mother tongue, in your own language, and then translate it to the target language. So that's what we're gonna do here. So I already did that, and now I'm just gonna add my list, my translated list to AppTweak. So you can easily put it here and click on Analyze, and then we have our first set of translated like words that we used. Following that, so that's the first step. That's really easy to do. Usually you already have a semantic dictionary for your app in your own language, and then translating it, it's pretty easy. You just translate, copy, paste. The second step that you could do after that is use right here AppTweak like keywords metrics, and this helps you find keywords in the target language. So here we're just gonna go through a couple of them. For example, we can select fruit ninja, fruit ninja. We can select a couple of words here, jeu, fruit, jouer. And then what you could do after selecting a couple of them is use the translate English keywords to English to see what those words are. And then if those words like fashion here, that's not something related to my game, you can delete it right away. So that's a quick and easy way to add some keywords and then use the translate, understand what those keywords are, and then filter them. So we have a couple of keyword metrics here. I find the ranked one very interesting because it gives you also the volume of those keywords and combinations of keywords. So we can just keep adding a couple of them here. Also look into your competitors here, and you can also add some that you might find interesting in your competitors list. So we can just keep adding a couple of keywords. And then again, every time you do that and you go through one competitor, you can go back down here and again, use the translate to English feature. And then filter again, the one that, so like addiction games, that's not so much interesting for us. Popular game, that's good. Family fruit, that could work. To play that as well, and you keep going through the different tabs here and look for Q and repeat the same process again and again. So that's really helpful. Susan, maybe do you want to maybe explain to them a little bit the different keywords, like picking tools that we have?
Yes. So for example, the app metadata tells us which keywords you or your competitors are already using in their metadata, meaning title, subtitle, and even keyword field. Then the top keywords also help you find which keywords are driving the most downloads. So this is very interesting because it takes into consideration the top 50 ranked keywords and the volume for your app and for your competitors. And then, of course, the ranked keywords tells you by ranking group on which keywords an app is ranking for. So this can be very interesting also to help you find opportunity keywords, keywords that maybe you are not targeting, but that your competitors are better positioned than you are. Then if you still want to expand your brainstorming and look for even more suggestions, you can use search ads, which will tell you some bidding keywords that usually are very relevant for the category and that also have a nice volume. So you can find even more recommendations. And then finally, auto suggestions also provides you with all of the suggestions that are provided to a user when he's typing a specific keyword in his iPhone.
So thank you, Susan, for explaining us like the different keyword picking tools. So once you've gone through this process in each one of the speaking tools, and then filtered the keywords using the translate keywords to English feature. Like here. So you use that, and then you basically have to keep only the most relevant keywords.
Sure. So let's take a look at the metrics that will help you decide which keywords you should use. And the first thing is the volume. The volume tells you how popular a keyword is in terms of the traffic that it drives to your app. It goes on a scale from 5 to 100, being 100 the highest. And according to best practices, what we suggest is that you should try to target keywords with a volume above 27. This volume grows exponentially, so already having a keyword with a volume of 30, it's very good. Then total installs, it will provide you with an idea of how many installs that drives overall. So from here, you can also understand whether the keyword has a huge potential or not. But then you also want to understand more about the level of competition of that keyword. So that is why the difficulty is there, to show you how competitive that keyword is. It goes on a scale from 0 to 100, being 100 the highest. And basically, it is based on the apps that are ranking on the top 10. So of course, if those apps are very powerful, that keyword will be more competitive. But then we also provide you with the chance. The chance tells you how likely your app is to be visible on that keyword. And this basically takes into consideration your own app power. And to make the decision easier for you, we gather the volume, the difficulty, and the chance into the KI. So that is what will help you find opportunity keywords. Why? Because it will basically combine a high volume, a low difficulty, and a high chance.
Yes. So thank you, Suzanne, for explaining all of this. So this step is very important because you get to select the keywords that you want to put in your metadata. So you need to take into consideration all these metrics to do that. So it helps you really clean up your final list of keywords, your final selection of keywords for your metadata. So like we did earlier, we're already selected a couple of single keywords that we start. So we're going to go back to this list, but this time what we're going to do is go a step further and use the live search feature here to see if this word is very relevant, which apps are ranking top on these words, and if we can have a chance to rank on them. So let's go for example here for watermelon. So we're gonna see the different games or apps that are here. So let's see. So here we see that we have a kind of dating app, a VPN app. So not so much of games in the top, but we are here in the top. So that's maybe a keyword that we could use in our metadata to improve our ranking on it here and to go up in the rankings here. So that's potentially a good keyword to use. And it has the volume of 30. We're already ranking on it, so that's really important. So you go through all those keywords and look at their live search, and then based on that you get to filter again, do a last filter of which one you're gonna keep here. So for example, let's see défi, which is challenge. So here again we see Uno, Horizon. So we see a couple of games, but those games are not so much similar to our game, but they're still arcade game. They're still games in our category. So that's something we could keep as well. So here we have our final list. And based on this, now we can start coming up with selection, like suggestions of metadata that in our language that using these keywords, and see like, so this is really easy because you don't need to come up with suggestions in the local language using these keywords, because obviously you don't know how the structure of the sentence work in that language. But it's good to come up with suggestion in your own language. And then what we're going to talk about is having someone, a native speaker, translate those for you. And this is a really important part, as it allows you really to have all the keywords you want to put, and it makes it just so much easier. So yeah, let's maybe move on to the next step now. So yeah, so basically the next step, like I said, is hire a native speaker. So you have your suggestions of metadata, of subtitle, title in your own language, and then you want to ask this translator to translate those suggestions for you. But not only that, to give you also a few additional variation for each of those suggestions, because like I said, the structure of the sentence changes. Sometimes it makes more sense to have the beginning of the sentence as the second part and the last part at first. So it really different going from language to language. So like I said, like ask them for other suggestions as well.
Yes, I think you're totally right. Hiring a native speaker is part of making this localization optimal. So it's something that you should definitely not skip.
Yes, exactly. That's really important. And it's really important to have someone that is native to that like language, and not just someone that learned it, because that makes the difference too.
Sure.
So yeah, so like Susan says, it's a very important part. It's important because first, like we said, the structure of the sentence is very important and is different from a language to another. The speaker, the native speaker, will help you find the right way to convey your message. But also, in order for you to get the most of the translator, you don't only share with him those suggestions. That's not enough. What you have to do is really share with him every information you can on your game, what your game does, what is it about, what your app does, like every single thing you can share. The more information you provide him with, the more accurate and the better it's gonna, the translation is gonna convey your message, what you want to put out there, what you want your app to represent. So it's very important to share as many information as possible before and during the localization process as well. So just keep that in mind. That yeah, suggestion is good, but if those translators don't have the context, that makes it a little bit harder for them to find the right way to structure and like just translate your metadata. Yes, Susan.
Yeah, so remember, folks, giving the right context will also help the translator make the right decisions.
Yes. So for example here, what I did to give him some suggestions, I went to optimize my metadata. I have here my start keywords. And here it's really easy because you can basically select you can try out different things and select different keywords. But here, for example, I will select cut. I want cut in my subtitles. And every time you add it, it adds here. And then you have directly the number of counts. So that's really interesting. The number of counts and the KEI, which Susan explained earlier, which is really interesting. I want fruit, or maybe, let's say, yeah, we're gonna say, or maybe not fruit, maybe we're gonna use the different fruits here that we have. Let's use some melon looks to have a good volume. We're already ranked on it, so that's interesting. We can probably improve our ranking on it by putting it in the subtitle because it has more visibility there. We can use maybe kiwi, looks like a good one too. So here, for example, I have cut, kiwi, and watermelon, right? So let's say I'm gonna think of a suggestion. Suzanne, can you think of anything maybe? Maybe in English, maybe cut. I was thinking maybe cut watermelons, kiwis, and more as a subtitle.
Sure, that's like a great one.
Yeah, so for example, we're gonna say, so that this is one of the suggestions. So you have to come up with a couple of suggestions. Like I usually come up with about 5 to 10 different ones, and then I send them in English to my translator. So here I did it beforehand. So I've sent them cut, let's say cut watermelon, kiwi, and more. And this is what I got. Découper, melon, kiwi, et plus. So it's a 30 characters, so it fits well. Remember that for the subtitles, with the bug going on right now in Apple, you're only like indexed on 29 characters, but here plus is not an important keywords for us, so it's okay to have it there and have 30 characters in this case. So yeah, so here, okay, I'm happy with the subtitle. It has good volume. We're ranking on a couple of keywords. We have a good chance to rank on it. The difficulty is pretty low. Oh, perfect. So yes, so you gotta do the same thing for your title. So fruit, and then we have ninja, and then same thing for a keyword field where you can add you have, so these keywords were already chosen looking at the combination, the live search, the volume, the chance. So then you can just start adding the one you find the most interesting and relevant out of these keywords. So let's say dojo. So we have fruits in plural, but we want to put fruits in singular in the keyword field. Free, game, and then you just gotta add all the keywords, and you have up to 100 characters, and which is cool here, like I said, it shows you how many characters you're using. So yeah, so once you have your app name, your subtitle in the native language, and then your keyword field, then you get to the next step and you implemented it. So so here we're gonna implement this metadata, we're gonna show you a couple ways to like monitor like the progress and the impact of this new metadata. But usually you gotta wait about 4 to 6 weeks before you track the results. And here we're gonna see maybe with Susan if she can help us to like with the, so we're gonna go to monitor here, and then we have different, so let's see.
Sure. So the great thing about the visibility score is that it will take all the sets of keywords from your keyword list, and it will take a look at the ranking and the volume to tell you how visible you and your competitors are on those sets of keywords. So this is something that you should definitely use on a daily basis or every week to monitor what's your visibility, if you're gaining or losing visibility.
Yes, so basically here you can even toggle the competitors, and then you have the impact. So basically you see, for example, let's say we've done, here it looks like we've done an update. I mean, you can see on the, let's assume that it's an update of your metadata, and here you can say that the visibility score is decreasing. So this shows you really the impact of it. And that you can use also the keyword impact right here, which shows you organic installs. And again, it shows you whether it has a positive or negative impact on your organic installs from keywords. And you can select the date you've done the metadata, for example. Usually I select 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks interval. And then it shows you, oh, here, okay, we have one uplift in daily installs, which is great. So, you know, you can look at brands versus generic. So here you see, you know, like we based a lot of our metadata on generic keywords and brand keywords. So here is a good way to see if that strategy, so depending on the strategy you're using, whether you want to focus on your brand or you focus on like more generic keywords, here you can see the impact of it, of installs coming from generic and your own brands or other brands as well. So yeah, so there's different ways of monitoring that. And then you just gotta, once you've done that, a couple weeks later, you just gotta repeat the whole process. Again, you always have to go back on those keyword fields, like refresh your semantic dictionary to find new opportunities and just go through the same process, like this whole 5 steps every few weeks.
Great. So thank you, Sarah. I think those were very useful 5 steps on how to localize your app, but also how to monitor the performance once that you've implemented all of the changes in the store. So I think that was very insightful. We hope to have you again soon.
Yeah, of course. And this was a pleasure. This is really keyword optimization and localizing metadata. And obviously, like I said at the beginning, don't forget that localization goes beyond that to localization. And yes, if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help you.
Yes, there's also the ASO blog where we provide more insights on how to localize your creatives as well. And don't forget that you can also start our 7-day free trial to test more about these features.
Yeah.
Bye. Hope to see you next time.
Bye.